Yeah, good day to you.
Om Sadashiva Samarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Om Om Shanti 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 Om Namaste. Okay, we are on the 11th chapter. On the verse 37, we saw Krishna, Arjuna, né, addressing the Lord Krishna. We saw a certain wonder. Why do they not appreciate you? Why they do not salute you? Why they do not recognize you? No? Who are the greater than Brahmaji, the first creator? So how they cannot see you, the only reality behind even Brahmaji? You, the limitless one who is the ruler of all gods. You, the above of the universe. You are the cause, you are the effect, you are the imperishable truth, which is beyond causality, cause and effect. So that just to recap this one, because it's a beautiful passage in which Arjuna, having seen Ishvara in its Vishvarupa nature and having been introduced to its true nature as Nirguna Brahman, he started wondering, why people cannot see what I'm seeing here, yeah, and why they do not do namaskaram. So why they don't? So we know why they do not have reverence, love, and appreciation to God, because they have gross minds. Yeah? Their mind are not refined. They're not sensible enough to see, to see what I love to refer to as the miracle of life behind everything. So scientists have come to a certain moments of humility to realize that there is something beyond matter and energy here. And it's said that Einstein said something on those lines. So it shows their smallness of mind. They are missing the most important thing of life, which is the true nature of this apparent reality as Nirguna Brahman. They are missing that without which they are going to be caught up here or in other lokas, going through several rebirths for the sake of coming to this point in which one can see the true nature of reality as the true nature of God. Swami says children cannot appreciate certain things because their intellect is not sensitive enough for that kind of dimension. The same, the religious dimension, and especially the highly evolved religious person, the person who gets to understand that the true nature of God is beyond the gunas, beyond any attributes of any devatas. So the person who comes to that level of understanding, appreciation, must have a very, very extremely refined mind. It's much easier to negate God and say there is no God, much less even a nirguna God without any attribute. No. So the problem is there is no God, but there are no qualifications, preparedness, maturity, refinement that allows one to get in contact with God as one's very nature, the only reality, consciousness. If they have this kind of sensitivity, if they develop devotion, then they will certainly become a devotee of the Lord. So Arjuna went on just uh, presenting some arguments on why people cannot appreciate the nature of God. But he should remember that he is just about developing this refinement now, and he is having the privilege of having Krishna Ji, the perfect guru, teaching him and giving him special, extra or artificial maturity so that he can get this vision, you know, of the infinite principle, the limitless principle of all pervading consciousness. Arjuna was overpowered with fear, by fear. He was afraid of the Lord Kala, time, the destructive power of the Creator that swallows everything and everyone. And he was seeing that in the vision he had regards to everybody in the battlefield. Arjuna has asked a question, who are you? I thought you were very loving and compassionate, and now I see you as well as the swaller, of everything. As we saw in the 9th chapter, Bhagavan has neither likes towards anyone in particular, anything in particular. Therefore, there is no question of compassion or not compassion to some people, or to some things, So Bhagavan is just a facilitator that is going to bless anything. He's going to bless all jivas with the results of our actions. And sometimes it's going to be blessing people with tremendous papa, and some other times with wonderful punyas. And this serves a certain purpose, as we know. Bhagavan has no preference, no likes toward anything. The job of Bhagavan is to maintain the order of creation by its laws. The role as a keeper, maintainer of the law of karma is the ultimate blessing of the Lord. Maintaining the law of karma is the ultimate blessing or love or compassion of the Lord. So Krishna speaking as Brahmaji says, I am the one giving the karma palan to every one of my jivas. My compassion is giving karma palan. It's not looking at what type of karma palan it is. My compassion is to hold the system so that people can learn and grow in maturity, grow in sensitivity. Giving the karma palan is my compassion, says Krishna as Brahmaji. And when the karma pala happens to be painful, you believe that I'm being unfair, unjust, and even cruel. One must change one's attitude and look at life in a more positive manner. Every time we are faced with suffering, we have to remember that it's serving the purpose to exhaust some negative karma palan or papa. Exhaustion of papa is taking place. This is a concept that we hear many times. We know we have done many courses in the past. But internalizing this allows the individual to see things in a more positive manner. If the body is going through a lot of difficulty, or the mind, or one circumstantial pravada is very difficult, adverse, one must remember that the Lord makes no mistake. This is a intelligent design order, and there is always a purpose for everything. There is a purpose for joy, for punya, and there is a purpose for pain, for papa. So at least we can say, okay, I'm paying for my sins, in the Christian, from the Christian angle. So what I'm doing, I'm paying for my karma, I'm paying for my action, I'm paying for my sins. So I am exhausting my karmic account. How so? I'm just, paying back with interest some papa actions I did. Okay, and now I am, I am just squared with the Lord. Okay, instead of seeing papa as something negative, we should see as a positive aspect of the order. We should look at suffering as part of what we say we call a process of purification, preparedness. If we would experience only punya, 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 we would never challenge, our tendencies, our vasanas. We will never consider that there is something wrong with this mithya that seems to be real and it's giving me so much punya. We will never have the more complete vision that papan is just hand to hand with punya. Because I'm only experiencing punya since I was born. I never suffered anything. So we need both. Life is a process of experience of pleasure and pain. And that provides us with the friction in which we grow. This is nice. He said, when a doctor gives a painful treatment, one may look at the doctor and say, oh, I don't like this doctor. But this is not a superficial approach. Mature people will say the doctor is helping me to get back my health. No? But he told me I need to do exercise, I cannot eat nearly anything, and blah, 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 blah. Yeah. It's taking away your pleasures so that you can, find again balance, and allow your body to recuperate. He's removing negativities or toxins from your body mind. The doctor removed gross impurities, and the Gita, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagwan, removed the spiritual impurities. Very nice. Spiritual, mental, emotional impurities that gets cured by the Gita. Therefore, look at everything we suffer in life as a spiritual purification. If I do not have the strength to have this attitude, and then I must pray. And this is a wonderful prayer. And pray to the Lord to give me the strength. That will change my perspective. Change of perspective is something very nice. Because one thing is a change of vision or perception, which is very subjective and personal. But a change of perspective, you need to learn to look at life from the standpoint of Shwara, okay? Or from the standpoint of Aham Brahmasmi. This is a change of perspective. The perspective is no longer aham, my likes and dislikes as me, but is, perspective of Dharma, perspective of the laws of the Lord. Perspective is you have to just go somewhere else and look from a different perspective, which is not your personal likes and dislikes. This should come from the innermost heart of the person. Oh Lord, you are purifying me. You are cleaning up my papas. So you are just debiting, I'm paying for my papas. And suffering brings us certain contemplation, reflections. So when this understanding came to Arjuna, he, rather than being afraid, he started developing love, appreciation, devotion, reverence to the Lord. Even though he was not mature enough, that's why he has put in words that you, Lord, appears almost to be cruel. But it's not cruel. It's like a child. A child is always afraid to go to see a doctor. The children have the terror of the injections. They are no, doctor's coming. The old days. He does not know that injection here and there is for the child's good. But no, this doctor is cruel. Therefore, in the later verse here, beginning from the 36, Arjuna expressed devotion to the Lord, appreciation to the Lord as the karma paladatta, the system. And there we are seeing, we complete the 37th verse. And Arjuna now says, now the 37th we have seen, immature, he appears again the verse, but we do not need to go back to the verse 37, but it refers to the immature people who do not understand the Lord. Therefore, they believe that there is so much injustice in the world, it must be that there is no God. There is so much cruelty. Mature people understand the Lord properly. They know that the Lord can only give back to us what we deserve. I'm not able to understand this Prabhupada, many Prabhupadas in my life, because I don't have the big picture. Nobody has a big picture. Nobody has a big picture. It's so interesting because once this knowledge, the knowledge in respect to this relationship between the Jiva Atma and Saguna Shwara, the Karma Pala Datta, when it's really internalized, one never has this experience. It does not cross one's mind, that there is something wrong with the scriptures, with God, because this should not be happening, that should not be happening. And it's not a question of blind faith, it's a question of profound understanding of the design, of this order. There's nothing here which is not sustained by laws and principles. Nothing happens by any chance. But since we cannot see the entire equation, I used to say it more often in the past, that this karmic equation of Nietzsche, of the Lord, is incomprehensible to the human intellect. Nobody can understand this complete equation that takes into account everything impacting yeah, from the standpoint of the Jivatma, the Dharma field, producing effects and results to each one of us, custom designed for each one of us. How can we understand such equation? It's impossible. But you can understand the principles so that you do not need to understand the equation because you need to have the mind of Shwara to understand the equation. But you have a certain mind that can be refined and purified so that you develop the conviction that this is intelligently designed order and nothing happens by chance. This is the total picture. Whoever has got complaints against God, they always say that I have never harmed anyone, I never did anything bad. Why Bhagwan is giving me this trouble? This is not fair. It is a small thinking, thinking like, oh, I did not deserve that. Cyclones, the cyclones that happen. A lot of innocent people are losing everything, including their lives. It happened recently. A few weeks ago, a few days ago, in Brazil, in the south. So why he's allowing so much suffering? I have not done. These people are innocent. How can you know? We don't even know. We don't remember things we have done in our childhood. We have not remember. We do not remember things we did in other births. We don't even remember what we had for breakfast last Friday. How are you going to remember every karma you have put into the system and why you experience this or that prarabdha? Not to take into account that there are many other karmas and many other factors, corroborating for the prarabdha. It's an incredible equation. We look from a personal point of view, from my likes and dislikes, and my ragged vision, very, very narrow mind. But if I look at myself, I look at prarabdha from the perspective of Bhagwan, from the perspective of this totality, the Dharma field, all karmas have to be taken into account, inclusive karmas that I have put into account in past births, incarnations. Therefore, we have no right to pass judgment on Ishvara. Very nice, huh? So when we go through varieties of parameters, our only attitude should be, okay, God knows, I do not know. And that is, they give the story, and that is, they give the stories of Dhammaputra. He's Dhammaputra, Dhamma are they two different deities or entities or the same? Because I've seen some.
I think they're different. I think Dharmaputra, Mark may know better, comes from the Puranas, and he's like in Christianity, we have Job. Remember the story of that poor guy, gets nothing good happening to him, but he's so devoted. And I think this is a parallel in the Puranas.
Dhammaputra himself gets doubt in his mind, even though he was the king of Dharma. He was brought up in that environment. He had total trust in the Lord. But the suffering and the injustice appears to be so much against me. And then the famous why me came into his mind. Why me? Which means it could happen to other people, but why me? He does not know why me. He does not remember. He does not understand the whole picture. He gets frustrated and he stops fighting God. He gets angry with the Lord. He thinks that there is Lord is being injustice with me and the world. The rishis and come and tells him stories. Oh, that's nice. So the rishis came to help Dhammaputra. They have to console Dhammaputra. In those stories, what the rish point out to him is that nobody can escape one's karma palam, parabada, or destiny. Life circumstance is karma palam, and nobody can escape one's karma palam. Even gods, when they take the avatar, even they go through papa, difficult situations. This is very interesting. I wish Swamiji could elaborate a little bit on this concept here. Gods who take avatar, yet they have to go through the karma palam, papa, difficult situations. If all the sufferings in life have got cured, then Rama would not have suffered. Yudhishthira would not have suffered. The very fact that even they suffered indicate that there are many curable papas and incurable papas. If that comes, what to do? You just take your suffering. In the Christian culture, it says just carry your cross, crush the load of your papa, carry the load of your papa. Accept it. There are some papam that it almost feels like carrying such a load as in the story of Christ, some people born in certain circumstances, they are responsible for all younger brothers and sisters because they lost their parents and then they have to work two jobs and hold it together. In the old days, we would find more often than now these kind of attitudes, of really holding it together in spite of all unfavorable circumstance. One should learn to accept that. Here, Swami found the very fact that even the avatars, they suffered some papas, indicate that there are many curable papas and there are many incurable papas as well. Meaning to say, these avatars, they could offset some papas, and that goes into the category of curable or papas that can be neutralized or converted in punya. But there are some papas that cannot be changed, cannot be converted. Those are incurable papas. If they come, we better have the strength to accept it with a certain love and compassion, and for myself and to the Lord, reverence. This is a mental, and that mental preparation we can never try to get them when the suffering comes. This is a very important point. Many times Swan brings that preparedness, this process of developing the strength, the balance, to deal with life. It's almost impossible when Papa hits us. When Papa hits us, we don't have enough viveka, we don't have enough emotional balance to develop mental strength. Mental strength has to be developed when we enjoy a certain stability in life. Yeah. Swami presents a very simple example this time to describe this. I mean, in the past, I have seen some text in which he says, so you're in a dry area, you live in India, and then you know that in certain, in some summers, you may completely lose out of water there. And then you have to prepare for the summer, and you start preparing, building a second well in the land. I say, no, it may be all right. I think it's going to work with only this well we have. And then when the dry season comes and you lose water, there is no water. And then it's too late to dig the well. You have to prep before. So this maturity, this mental emotional immunity, this balance or strength to deal with the downs of life needs to be developed when we are not facing big adversities, when we are not suffering. The same way when we are really ill and sick. The body is tamasic, the mind is tamasic. If the doctor is going to say, oh, the only solution here is, change the diet and do a lot of exercise. So you cannot do any exercise, for example. So it's better prevention, developing the immune system so that you can deal with Papa when it comes, if it comes, depending on our demerit, balance. The immunity should be developed when you are healthy. Do exercise, do walking, eat well, Similarly, the mental, emotional, spiritual preparation has to be done not at the time of great suffering, but when things are relatively okay. Relatively okay. Not that when things are wonderful and you are just, oh, I'm so excited, everything is happening to, everything good. I have everything going for me, everything that I want is happening. Now, that may produce a certain excitement that's no good. But when things are calm and you have time to contemplate, we have to say to our mind, the Lord is never unjust. I may be enjoying some good time now. Things are relatively better. But we know that good and better, punya and papa, pleasure and pain, they just go hand to hand. And Lord is never unjust. If Papa comes, it means it is custom designed for my own good. There is no injustice in the world. Oh, it's so difficult to develop this vision. So difficult to develop this vision. We have to repeat that constant to ourselves for many years. It's part of our training. If anything bad happens, something comes, the vasana of total accept must be in place. The vasana has to be cultivated by understanding this intelligently designed order in which nothing happens by chance or accident. That understanding must be very firmly established in one's mind. This is a good vasana, religious, spiritual vasanas. A vasana of acceptance that is working for me 24/7. Our problem is when everything is fine. We do not want to think about negative things or adversities. Let's enjoy. Nobody wants to prep. We have to do when everything is okay. Give me the strength, therefore, the prayer, give me the strength to accept whatsoever probable. Let me never forget that life is not only about pleasures, but pleasure and pain. And I need to be immune to all these papas so that I don't lose my Viveka Shakti, I don't lose my understanding, and I don't lose my proper relationship with Saguneshwara, the Creator. Once that maturity is developed, then it's easy to surrender to the will of God. Then, only then, the person will not criticize the Lord. The mature people would certainly do namaskara. Arjuna was surprised that most people do not have any respect or reverence, therefore they don't do namaskara to the Lord. And now, why would not they do namaskara? So you must understand, Arjuna, lack of maturity. And the maturity Arjuna is experiencing now was somehow forged, artificially by the Lord, so that he could have this eye of wisdom, to see the glory of Ishvara. Verse 38, you are the primal God, the ancient Purusha. You are the supreme ground of dissolution of this universe. You are the knower, the known as well, the abode, which is beyond the duality, knower, known. The universe is pervaded by you, O Lord, with endless forms. So it's very interesting because he got the picture of Vishvarupa, Ishvara, which is see the Lord as the totality of all Namarupas, And so he went from a Lord which was, limited by a certain name and form and attribute. He went to see the Lord as a total manifestation of the cosmos. He got to understand the laws and principles by which the Lord holds and delivers everyone's, karma palam. So he got to that kind of understanding, but he speaks as if he understood the Lord as Nirguna Brahman, because he's referring to that again and again in this passage of this chapter. And here again, he's talking in terms of Purusha, the all-pervasive consciousness, the ancient Purusha. He's talking in terms of the supreme ground of dissolution, which is a nice expression. Everything, comes from and dissolves or resolves back into this consciousness. You are beyond the knower and the known. You are beyond both. The universe is pervaded by you. So definitely he is referring to Nirguna Brahman, although Saguneshwara pervades as well the entire cosmos. Cosmos is a creation of Brahmaji. Sattvaguna is there, holding everything in place. O Lord, with endless form. And then again, he makes a reference to Vishvarupa Ishvara again. So the maturity of Arjuna is increasing. Therefore, Krishna's stature is increasing the vision of Arjuna. Even though the Lord has been great all the time, Arjuna begins to understand that now, only now. Therefore, his devotion is growing and becomes deeper. Then Swami says that previously, the namaskara of Arjuna, like the namaskara of most people, was more physical, more mechanical act. And that's what I'm saying. In our culture, we were taught to do namaskar in front of the Lord since childhood. So now it becomes a mechanical practice, a physical exercise. But for a devotee, and this is a rare moment in which Swami used the word enlightened people, enlightenment. It's so, I was surprised to read it today. For an enlightened person, for a yani, for a true devotee of the Lord, even namaskara is a very, very inner expression of one's attitude. The namaskara is not only expressed physically, but it is emotionally expressed with great gratitude and reverence. The Lord represents all the laws, including the law of karma. My namaskara represents I will never question Ishwara's laws and principles. I will never question the law of karma. It is very nice. As we have seen in Mandukya Karika, the best philosophy or theory to explain the origination of the cosmos is karma. So everything came from karma. Gaudapada at the end exposed the fallacy, the lack of solid arguments or logic to sustain that karma could be the cause of the universe. But nevertheless, it was the best explanation of how this universe could come about. And the devotee at this level, the level of being basically a yani, understands Nirguna Brahman as the only true nature of reality, but understands Brahmaji as the creator, sustainer, and the giver of all our prarabdhas. And she knows that it's all done according to certain laws, being the law of karma the most relevant in respect to human jivas. Therefore, such a mature individual never question prarabdha, because it sees prarabdha as the Lord manifesting as its laws and principles. You see, the law is everything, and the subtle level is not just what's happening physically, but the very prarabdha, the very complex experience of adversity is the Lord manifesting itself as the law of karma. The Lord represents the law of karma, and my namaskara represents that I will never question Lord's laws. I will never question the law of karma. This is that unquestioned acceptance, which is indicated by a physical action, but furthermore by what is really going on in the heart of the person who really surrendered to prarabdha, surrendered to karma, to the law and karma of the Lord. Therefore, Arjuna expressed the devotion that Tvam Adi Devat, O Lord, you are the first and foremost God. So, because Brahma is also considered God only, Brahma is Adi Deva, because even before Brahma originates or emerged, Lord Vishnu was there. Lord Vishnu here is representing Nirguna Brahman. So he says, "Oh Lord, you are the first foremost Brahmaji, the creator, Ishwara. So Ishwara is also considered a god, because before Brahmaji there is Brahman, Nirguna Brahman, here represented as Lord Vishnu. Therefore, Lord Vishnu or Nirguna Brahman is referred as Adi Devaha, the original, the number one principle. Purusha, you are all pervading one, and also you are the indweller in every human body. So Purusha, Swami says, that has two meanings. One is the one all pervading all living beings. And the second is the one who appears as if residing in the body. Puru means body. Saha means indweller. Purusha, Purusha, the indweller of the body. So Purusha means the body resident, the indweller of the body. So you are the indweller, you are the all-pervasive, and again, when we say that Purusha pervades everything, it means to say that he pervades, we see the body, but it just spreads in all directions, limitless spatial distance. As well, it's not contained by the limits of any body. Yeah? The space we see in the clay pot is the same space, all pervasive. So, Purusha, you are the most ancient one without beginning. Then, the ground of dissolution or resolution or destruction. So you are the original grounds of being and the ultimate ground in which the whole creation resolves back. You are Laya Stanam and Pralaya Stanam. So you're the ground from which the universe originates and the ground in which the whole universe resolves back into. It's a very nice picture construct, So everything is just as a reflection in consciousness, and then it just resolves itself in consciousness, as Brahman. Why do we say that the Lord, the true Lord, Nirguna or Vishnu, is the ultimate resolution ground? Because then the scriptures describe pralayam. They describe it as a gradual process. So this is interesting. Swami is saying that in our scriptures, the pralayam, the dissolution, or resolution and everything back into consciousness, it happens as a gradual process. So if you say it happens gradually, and then that should be a place which the past stop, to use that expression. It goes resolving back, and then it resolves back in consciousness, the only reality. So the scriptures describe pralayam as a gradual process of dissolution or resolution or destruction. It's better to think in terms of resolution. All the living beings are resolved into Prithvi. What is Prithvi, please?
That's the earth element.
Okay, yeah. All living beings are resolved into the earth. That's so nice. Now, from the dust we come, to the dust we go back, And then what happened with this dust, with this clay, with this earth? So we have the earth. The earth originates all animals, plants, and human beings, insects, everything comes from there. And then all these living beings, they have to resolve back into the elements, earth, the most fundamental, the most gross developed element, the earth. The earth, in succession, dissolves itself into Jalan, into Jalan of the five elements. Okay. It goes back into water. So it's even difficult to visualize how that can take place. And then water has to resolve itself back into fire. And then from fire resolves itself into air and so into space. The whole thing that unfolded like that, it's resolved back into space. And the space must resolve itself back into Brahmaji or Ishvara. And then furthermore, Brahmaji also resolves itself into Brahman. So, and then the question so I'm put, and then Brahman does not resolve itself in anything because it's the end, it's the only reality. Everything else unfolded as a reflection, apparent reflection or development of name, colors, and forms of that which is Brahman or consciousness, existence, the only reality. All these things resolve into something else, back into something else. It's easy for us to see that all namarupas, all living creatures, living beings in the cosmos, in the vegetable or animal, insects, it's very easy for us to understand that they just resolve back into earth, and then earth resolving back into water is quite a stretch. But anyhow,
Arlindo, I was thinking about that, and I think if you look at the bottom of your compost pail if you haven't emptied it for a while, all that stuff you put in as solid, it's all gooey and wet and the stuff at the bottom. So I see that, but I'm wondering from that to Agni, is it just unmanifest energy before it goes to air? Do you get the Agni part?
yeah, that is even more mind-boggling, how
Yeah.
how water resolves back into fire, because they seem to be like,
Opposite.
opposites.
Yeah.
Well, when I listen to this whole stretch, it makes me think of the scientific terms, as in the Big Bang and the Big Crunch, everything coming back into itself.
Yeah, definitely. The Big Bang is another way to scientifically understand what Swamiji is explaining here. So, though you are the knower of everything, that means that you are ever living being, which is the experiencer of the world. So here in reference, he is the knower and he is the known, and he's actually beyond this duality, knower and known. So although you are the knower of everything, that you are all living beings, which is experiencing in this world. So the sentient experiencing living beings are called Veta, and Vedya means the insentient object of experience, the experiencer and the experience. So as we know, the true experiencer is consciousness. It needs an instrument, yeah, body, mind, living creature to experience its field of objects. So the field of object can never be seen as sentient because it's an object. Anything that's an object is captured by the five senses and the mind. It's therefore an object, insentient. So, but you are the one who knows and experience everything. So one is pramata and another is prameya. We have seen that in another text that I forget. So one is bhokta, another is bhogyam. One is the subject, the other is the object. One is the only source of sentience, and the other is absolutely insentient. In fact, the whole creation is a mixture of chetana and achetana. And Arjuna says you are both the chetana tattvan as well the achetana tattvan. So here he makes a reference to the fact that the Lord is the fundamental spirit or consciousness principle, the true knower or experience of everything. Of course, the Lord needs some instruments by which he can experience matter. Matter is absolutely achetana, inert. And the living creatures, such as ourselves, experience objects of experience or knowledge. We have two features to ourselves. One is chetana, one is achetana. We are the mixture of both. Actually, everything in the universe is a mixture of spiritual and matter. But only jivas, and more specifically human jivas, can understand this. You understand that we are a mixture of spirit, consciousness, and matter and energy. And when we experience the inert world around us, we must remember my true nature is Chetana, Tattva, the only source of consciousness, the true source of sentience. Arjuna says, you are both, because everything is but you. Not only you are both, you are beyond both. So it says in the verse. You are the ultimate reality as well, who is neither the experiencer nor the experienced. So Maya does so create a division or a split in consciousness in which reflect consciousness begin to experience other namarupas, as if apart from consciousness. But consciousness is beyond the experiencer, and the experience is beyond the knower and the known. That means absolute consciousness. The idea was and is conveyed in Mandukya as well. Veta refers to Vishva Tajatsa Pranya. Vedya refers to Stula, Sukshma, Karana, Prapancha, the three bodies and the three pairs, the three universe. And Turiya, which is beyond the three pairs. That is Turiya Tattva, a philosophical idea conveyed in the Mandukya. Krishna is pulling from the Mandukya and presenting it here. You are the Chaitanya, beyond the knower and the known. You are the Turiya Chaitanya. You are. in which all the knowers, the jivas, as well as the objects of knowledge rests upon. Very beautiful. So there is consciousness, within consciousness, there is a small ripple, we could say, a small wave within consciousness that develops a sense of individuality, not only individuality, but is giving the power to experience duality, you know. So we need to be a wave to witness the ocean and witness the other waves as well. So in which Brahman, all the jivas, the knowers, as well the objects of knowledge or experience, rests upon. This is the kind of picture that I'm fascinated by, you know, when we do satsangs in Portuguese and even here, you know, to understand, to try to capture this perspective, this vision of consciousness, and in which consciousness emerged these Jiva Atmas, Paramatma. We see Jiva Atmas come into the play to experience what? Duality. Experience objects of knowledge. And each one of these human waves, human jivas, now takes the body mind to be the true knower. Whereas the true knower, we all know here, you know, the true knower is Turiya, consciousness, limitless, non-dual, the only reality. Okie dokie. Are we good for tomorrow? Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shvara Om Namaste. Thank you, and we meet again tomorrow.
Thank you, Arlindo.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Great. Thank you, Arlindo. Good to see you up and well again.
Okay. Thank you, Mark. Bye-bye.